We are going to continue with, thank you, Prajita. Good morning. We are going to continue with where we had left off in the previous session. Well, we had actually started with one poem by Charlotte Bronte, and that was on life, right? And we know that in these times, we need something that gives us hope, something that, enlightens us, brightens up our spirit. And Charlotte is always talking about how hopeful life can be, that we have to look at it with a very positive attitude, right? I'm going to share the slide, okay? And if you have any questions, you can always write in the chat. Well, we had started with this poem, and I had talked to you about how she wrote under a pseudonym, right? Currer Bell, because those were the times when women were not supposed to follow any profession. And if they were, found to be following a profession or taking things professionally, then society would not accept them. So that is how she started writing under a male name. And then later on, when she becomes a renowned writer, she, you know, reveals to the world that she's none other than Charlotte Bronte. Okay, we had done this poem and we had also discussed one comprehension, right? So we are going to move ahead with the second and then come back to the poem. Comprehension 2, if you can see on your screen, right? Differs from my conventional wisdom, right? Examine the poet's view of life and how it differs from conventional wisdom. What is the poet's view of life? We did talk about it, right? The poet's view of life is this, that life has both the positive and the negative, the good things and the not so good things. When we are in a phase wherein we are facing, the negativities of life, we should always be hopeful of the positive upcoming, right? There is something positive that will follow. There is something extraordinary and pleasant that is going to come. So no matter how grave the situation is, right? Hope is something that helps you overcome all your problems and issues in life. And how is it different from the conventional wisdom? Sages, if you recall the poem, the beginning of the poem, I'll show you that slide. See, life believe is not a dream so dark as sages say, right? Sages are the wise people. So, what is the conventional view? It was very fatalistic. In the sense, they believed that life was dark, life had to be taken seriously in a very grave way. Okay, but that is not true. Charlotte doesn't accept this point of view. She says life is also about positivity. Life is also about affirmation. Life is about living it hopefully. First question. Explain the attitude to life that the poet is recommending. What does she say? Do not let despair overpower you. Because if you are hopeful, everything good in life will, ultimately come in your life, right? So we have to be hopeful in life. We have to understand that life is not just everything negative. In fact, negativity or something, which is grave and serious and unpleasant that's happening in your life, maybe, is telling you that the next phase of your life is going to be something very pleasant, something that you're going to enjoy. Okay. Just as, she explained it with those lines that, this is the season of rain, and she explains that, rain, clouds bring rain, and clouds symbolize gloom, darkness. But ultimately, what is the outcome? After it rains, the vegetation and the flowers are in bloom, right? We have a lush green garden. We have beautiful, flowers, colorful flowers. So it is a very positive outcome, something that emerges from negativity. So that's why every individual, could you please mute your mic, whosoever it is? Thank you. So that means from the most negative situation, we are able to see something that excuse me, students, I request you kindly mute your mic, right? I can hear you. I can wait for you for some time. Okay, let us now move to the third question. Discuss the language and tone of the poem. What do you find in the poem? Let's go to the poem. What is the language like? What does he want to say? The words that you find here, right? For example, the word like pleasant, the word like hope, the word like roses bloom. And then you have an entire passage wherein he has used words like rapidly, merrily, gratefully, sunny hours, cheerily, right? And ultimately, that passage where she talks about hope. So, what do you think the language is like? It is positive, it is intense, it is persuasive, right? She's trying to persuade the reader that you have to be hopeful in your life. If you are hopeful, things will take a turn for the better. Before I move ahead, I have one request. Um, Students, if there is any problem with the net connection, okay, kindly communicate so that I also come to know, and I can repeat that passage or those things for you, right? So please let me know about it, right? If I'm not audible, or you can't see the screen, then please write to me. You can chat and I'll see, right? Okay, so the language and the tone. What I said was that the language, she has used words that are positive, hopeful, and she's trying to persuade, right? So it is a very positive kind of a writing, a hopeful text. Okay, and the tone is convincing. It's trying to convince the reader that life is something which is not always dull and drab. It also has its pleasant aspect. Uh, the fourth question: describe the imagery and its effectiveness in the poem. Now, what do we understand by imagery? What is imagery? Right? Image. The imagery word comes from image. What is an image? Go to the text. Let's see the text. Okay. Life, believe, is not a dream, so dark as sages say. Oft a little morning rain foretells a pleasant day. Now, take this image of a little morning rain. Imagine in your mind's eye, okay, morning time when there is a light shower. Okay, and what do you see? How do you visualize? I'm sure each one of us will visualize it differently. But then there is an image. So these words, little morning rain, is actually creating an image of, a cloudy kind of environment, weather situation, right? And then sometimes there are clouds of gloom. Once again, clouds of gloom is an image, right? Clouds of gloom stand for the difficulties and the problems that one has in one's life. So that is also an image, right? You can imagine a sky full of dull gray clouds, okay? And then roses bloom. Take a look, okay? Even as you read these words, what comes to your mind is a garden full of roses, colorful flowers, bright, right? So it's also a very positive image, just as clouds of gloom is a negative image. It is, something that talks about the problems in life. Roses blooming is actually telling us about the good things, the pleasant things in life. So it's also an image. Go to the next stanza. And see here, sunny hours flit by, rapidly, merrily, life's sunny hours flit by, gratefully, cheerily, enjoy them as they fly. Okay, flying. Flying itself, to fly. Flying itself is an image, right? The minute this word, is spoken and our mind comes in contact with it, we think about the wings that help the creatures to fly. Okay, the flying also exhibits a kind of a freedom, a kind of joy, right? Serenity, peace, maybe. Okay, so it's an image. Flying is an image. And then, uh, hope, again, elastic springs, right? Hope, temporarily, maybe because of your issues and problems, you experience a kind of despair in your life. Despair in the sense that you feel that you are depressed, dejected, and life has no meaning, right? That is despair. Not hopeful at all, right? But then, hope is such a thing that even if those problems and issues have suppressed hope in your life, once again a time will come when hope will, spring like, you know, elastic. Okay, just as an elastic, you can it can you can stretch it and you can again bring it back to its normal shape, right? But here hope is such a thing that even if despair has compressed hope, a day comes when, again it will spring back to its original form. And hope can never be conquered by despair, right? Despair cannot have total control. If we are hopeful, positive things will always happen. Unconquered though she fell, right? Still buoyant are her golden wings. Now, this is golden wings, hope having golden wings. You can see it as an image, and you can, in fact, maybe she is talking about some kind of, let us say, an angel or a celestial figure, right, with golden wings, right? You've seen the image of an angel, photo of an angel, right, with wings, right? So these golden wings, and that body which has those golden wings is someone or something that benefits others. It's benevolent, right? So still buoyant are her golden wings, still strong to bear us well, right? Hope is not something that can be destroyed by despair. It will come back, and it will be so strong that it will be, able to, you know carry us through those difficult days and difficult time period in our life. Okay, so again, this is one more image that we have here. Okay, let us okay, and so these are the images, and how effective are these images in the poem? So first of all, do we find these images effective? Of course we do, right? Because when we are talking of the gray clouds, right? We all obviously know what it means. When we are talking of a garden full of roses, even if I have to close my eyes and imagine a garden full of roses, definitely I'm going to get that pleasant feeling, okay, that happiness, that joy, right? So, yes, these images convey her message in a very apt manner. So, they are effective. Now, when you're answering this question, okay, you try to point out the images, and in whenever you are, pointing that image, try to explain it in a line or two there and there itself, how effective it is and how it conveys the message of the poem. Okay, take a look at the last question here. I'm going to read it from the text. Bring out the main argument of the poem and judge whether it is convincing. Now, what we have already discussed this. Bring out the main argument of the poem. What is the main argument of the poem? The main argument is that we need to be hopeful, that life, will make us face a situation, wherein there's constant conflict between hope and despair. But ultimately, it is hope that will prevail. And hope will have a upper hand. Despair will not be able to crush hope altogether. And what she's trying to tell the readers is we have to be hopeful in life. We have to be positive in life. Okay, we have to look to the brighter side of life, and we have to believe that even if we are in a very dull, dark, gloomy, troublesome phase of life, what is to come is going to be something very pleasant. In fact, the pleasant emerges from the current or the present darkness. So that is what she terms as. I'm going to take you back to the poem. There's something more that I have to talk about. Take a look at this first page that we have, right? By the way, I did tell you that if possible, have a text of your own so that even later on you are able to revise. And if you have anything, you can always ask. Okay. Now, what I want to do is we have examined the poem from the point of view of the message conveyed, theme, images. Let us also take a look at the way in which she has written, the style of writing, and some figures of speech, some literary devices that she has used, so that she's able to convey her message meaningfully. Okay, so take a look at the very first two lines. Life, believe, is not a dream, so dark as sages say. Right? Here you find that there is a comparison. Actually, it's a simile, right? That life is not so dark as sages say. There's a comparison. Okay? Darkness of life is compared to the darkness of the sages' prophecies, what the sages say, what they have to communicate. Right? So there is a comparison here. The next two lines, of a little morning rain foretells a pleasant day. What do you think is the figure of speech used here? Oft a little morning rain foretells a pleasant day. Okay, foretells is to tell in advance, right? Future, right? So the morning rain foretells. Who is in a position to foretell? Yeah, of course, it has to be a human being, right? So this is actually an example of personification, right? A quality that is normally assigned to a human is assigned to the morning rain. The morning rain tends to foretell, so it's personification. Go to the next line. Sometimes there are clouds of gloom. Okay, sometimes there are clouds of gloom. Clouds of gloom. What figure of speech do we find here? Well, it is a metaphor, right? Clouds of gloom, right? Difficulties and tensions and worries and issues and problems of life are actually compared to the clouds of gloom. Okay, the dark clouds, the gray clouds in the sky. So it's a metaphor. Again, in the on this page, second last line, if the shower will make the roses bloom. Okay, if the shower will make the roses bloom, right? Roses bloom is talking about the pleasant or the good times, right? Uh, the enjoyable moments of life. So again, it is a metaphor, right? Roses, the blooming roses are standing for the good times of our life. And then the next line, oh, why lament its fall? Okay, the line ends with a question mark. Do you think she expects an answer from the readers? Why do you think the writer, Charlotte, has ended with this question mark? Yes, it is a rhetoric question. Okay, the answer is explicit in the question itself. That means we should not lament the fall of the rain, right? Why? Because ultimately it's going to result into the roses bloom. Okay, so it is a rhetorical question. Then in this paragraph, this passage, this page that we have, uh, take a look here. What though death at times steps in, I think. Yeah, what though death at times steps in? Death uh, is given this human quality of stepping in. Yeah, we take steps, we intrude, right? And here she says death is stepping in. So it's an example of personification. Okay. What though sorrow seems to win? Now, winning and losing, it's all associated to human beings, right? So sorrow seems to win. So again, this is an example of personification. Or hope a heavy sway. Again, what she's trying to say is this, that even if difficult times come, even if, sorrow has an upper hand, we have to remain uh, very positive in, okay. And then in this page that we have, the last phase, the last part of this poem, right? She's talking about, let us say, hope, right? And hope has been, in a way, personified. Hope stands unconquered. Who stands unconquered, right? Uh, a person, a human being, right? So hope is given this quality of springing back. And buoyant are her golden wings, still strong to bear us well. Manfully, fearlessly, the day of trial bear. It's as if hope is a person, and hope has, that courage. Okay, the word. Yes, please. Anything you want to communicate? I'm waiting. Should I continue? Okay. When I'm not getting any answer, I believe I have to continue. Manfully, fearlessly, the day of trial bear. So, hope is given this very human quality, of being courageous and facing the situation. And ultimately, in the last line, can courage quell despair? Okay. Courage is also personified. Okay. Courage is given that quality of removing despair, right? Overpowering despair. Students, I stop here for a brief moment because there is some disturbance that I can hear. I request you to switch off your mics. And if you have any question, then you can write maybe in a chat and let me know. Hmm? If you have something, please let me know. Believe me, technology, okay. I'm waiting. I'm not so, good at it, but I'm trying. Okay. So this is, okay. Where are you? This is Ayushi. Ayushi has a question. Wait a minute, Ayushi. I have received some chats and I'm going to discuss this, right? In some time after, all that I have to say. I actually, stopped. You can hear me, I know that. Because, some microphones were on, so I get those sounds, right? Now I have here some questions. One is someone asking me, what do you mean by unconcerned? Unconcerned? I am not sure. It is Khushi. Uh, in what context you are asking me this question? In the second line, that last part of the poem, second line, we have unconquered, not concerned, right? Maybe you are having a small screen and you're not able to get the word, right? It is unconquered. That means someone that cannot be defeated or conquered, right? Okay. Is that fine? Okay. Now there is someone here who's asked me to explain. Okay. Someone who has asked me to explain quell. I just said courage has to have an upper hand over despair. Quell is to remove. Quell is to, just see that, despair gets defeated, right? In that sense. Okay. Uh, can we move ahead? Okay. Okay. So this poem, I'm sure you have got the gist of it. Uh, Again, I'm asking you before we move on to the next unit, if there are any questions that you need or any explanation that you need of a line or whatever, then please write in the chat, okay, so that I can share and I can talk to you also. Okay, right. If I don't get any, I believe that we can move ahead. Okay, fine. Okay, there, I have one more. Let me see what it is. Chat. Okay. Okay, I have one question here. What is the meaning of the word buoyant? Two, I think, have asked the same. Uh, Buoyancy is a principle of science. Buoyancy means that you are able to move about the surface of a water body. right? So, buoyant wings means that, you are able to fly over something. You are able to, you don't drown, or you don't, feel the weight of things. So your hope has, the golden wings. Let's move back. Uh, yeah. Hope has the golden wings. Still buoyant are her golden wings. Buoyancy means that you're able to fly well. Okay. And no, let us say, problems or issues are able to dampen your wings so that, you become depressed and dejected. Okay. So that freedom, okay, of movement, that has been explained by this, kind of buoyant, right? Now, okay. I think we'll have time later on too. So I'm going to move ahead. Okay. Uh, from this unit, which was a poem, we have still some more time, at least for the introductory part. I'm going to go, just a minute. Uh, we are going to take up another. Uh, okay. Uh, Now that we have completed one unit and we still have some time, so I'm going to start with the second unit. And the second unit is from the prose, right? If you have your book, then it is the second, there too. A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise, okay, by Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, now A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise. Take a look at the title itself, Wrong Man. Why do you think that, Tagore talks about a wrong man? And what about a right man? Is the man wrong and the man right? Or is the situation in which he finds himself wrong or right? Right? So we have to question that. Now, let me share with you. There is one who has. Okay, so here we are back again. Okay. The second that I was talking to you about is A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise by Rabindranath Tagore. Okay. Uh, we are familiar with Rabindranath Tagore, right? Uh, he was the first Indian to win the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913. A philosopher, a painter, a poet, a musician. He's known for, the school that he started in a very experimental way, and that was Shanti Niketan. Okay, so uh, there are so many. He was one. You know, all in one. Let us say. So he had so many qualities, so many, let us say, skills that he had. And this unit also, he's trying to talk about art, right? Art was, in a way, we can say art was his life, because he loved music, he loved to paint, he loved to write poems, right? It is, the collection of poems Gitanjali that won him the, let us say, Nobel Prize, in 1913 in literature. So he was a wise man, a philosopher, and everything. So, he has talked about one concept about a wrong man in workers' paradise. Let us understand two things from this title. First is workers' paradise, right? Paradise is a pleasant place. You can say it's kind of a heaven, right? And it is workers' heaven. Where do you think a worker will be at peace or will be happy? A worker is someone who works diligently, who is not lazy, who wants to do more and more, right? Who keeps himself always engaged in some activity, some productive thing. That's a worker, right? For him, work is everything. Right? Other aspects of life are not so important. So, where will this kind of a person fit in? What kind of a paradise, or what kind of a place would be his paradise, let's say? So, it would be a place where all around him are diligent, are working, are continuously putting in hard work, efforts, right? That is workers' paradise. So, if it is this heaven we are talking about, then it's a place where all are working. They have no time for any other thing except, doing mechanical work. And then we are talking about a wrong man, right? Um, a wrong man in the sense, here, this person that we are going to talk about in this fiction is a man, who according to people doesn't do any work, right? Actually, he's an artist. He's one who is involved into some form of art, and he does his painting, he does his artistic piece sculptures, and he's happy about it. He's not making those things because he has to earn money. He's not making those things to please someone or with a political agenda or with some kind of a social, end. No, he's doing it because he loves doing it. He's doing it because he wants to do it. He's doing it because it gives him pleasure. It gives him happiness. So the concept that has been explored by Rabindranath Tagore here is appreciating art for the sake of art. It's known as art for art's sake. You are not into arts because you have to please someone. You are not doing some artistic thing because you have to inform or communicate, just as we make banners and posters, right? That is also creativity. But that is with the purpose of disseminating information. Right? Or you are not into arts because it is your political agenda, right? That if I do this, I'm going to gain from this, right? We are not doing that. If you're not doing it for any purpose, let it be monetary purpose, political purpose, purpose of, let us say, didactic, what we call teaching, purpose that I do that piece so that, I pass on a message to others. So when that piece of work is not being done with any purpose, then it is art for art's sake. And the main, person, the main character here, is that someone, who is into arts for art's sake. Okay, so let us take a look first at the time and then, okay, I think I don't think I have a lot of time today, but let us briefly go through this because, once the time limit is over, I don't think I'll even be able to wish you a good day. So, in advance, let me say that, we will meet in the next class whenever we have one. And we begin with A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise. And my request to all my students is, if you have a text, then please go through the text. It will make the whole process very easy. And you might even want to discuss something. Discussion on this platform is a little tedious with so many, but we can always, share something through chat and clear up. Okay, so I think for today I'm going to wind up because anytime I'm going to leave the screen. So we will be meeting for the next session. Okay, if you have anything to ask, I'm still here.